everybody. My name is John Garner. I am a retired Special Forces NCO, and I've done several trips down to Panama. I joined the service in 1971, and by 1973, most of my training was completed, and I was dispatched or assigned to A Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Special Forces. I was in A Company from 73 to 78. The first time. The second time I was assigned to Panama was 1982 or 83 to 86. And then I ETS'd home. When I got down to Panama, there was my A team had 3 specific missions. One was the continuing training of the A team for jungle, any kind of jungle warfare, The second was to do mobile training team tactics and stuff to neighboring countries of, South Central America. And the third was to do harassing aggressor force training against the JOTC students. Now, the JOTC students turned over every 3 or 4 weeks, and every 3 or 4 weeks, we had a new group jumping into the drop zone there at Fort Sherman, or being trucked in or whatever. And of course, my team was responsible for doing aggressive training against JOTC. So we were assigned to go out and do aggressive training for this particular group. When we were, my team was, the whole team was deployed. We were on line sweeping down from outside of Fort Sherman, close to the Chagres River. Now, the Chagres River is probably about 200, 300 feet wide, and I was walking closest to the Chagres River as they swept down, looking for the students. When I stepped out into the banks of the Chagres River, I heard an aircraft going by. I looked up and saw it was a C-123 Provider aircraft. Now I know it was that because I had numerous jumps from an C-123 Provider aircraft. They were spraying, and they sprayed some liquid content on me, which got all over myself, got all over my equipment. It was very oily, and it had a strong, distinct odor. I believe it was more like diesel fuel than anything else. I did at this point go talk to my team medic and asked him specifically if that might be some kind of defoliant. He said he didn't know, but he would make an annotation in the records. So we went pressed on with our mission, and I tried to wash off whatever I could, but I couldn't get anything off because it was oil-based, and I didn't have any kind of detergent. Oh, the next time that I encountered some kind of being sprayed or being close to any kind of spraying activity is that we were patrolling down one night. We were patrolling out. It was probably dusk. It wasn't really night yet. And patrolling down a power distribution line outside of Eskimo. The power distribution lines are basically high tension lines. And you know that underneath the power lines there's always a right of way. When we were patrolling down the right of way, which is probably maybe 50, 75, no, maybe 100 meters wide. And again, it was denuded. There was low grass growing and low branch stuff, but there was nothing high, nothing, that could give you any kind of cover. And we had heard the helicopter come by before. Looked out, we saw a boom and it was spraying, and they were spraying parallel to what we believed to be the power line trace. As we walked up underneath the power line, the power distribution line, immediately our clothes started getting wet from being, brushing up against the existing vegetation. And we didn't really react to it because we had no way to react to it. and we pressed on with our mission. It was it was one of those missions that we thought that, that we didn't have the ability to take care of any kind of residual on us, so we decided to just keep moving on. Now, the next time we had encountered anything that looked like it might be some kind of vegetation defoliant use was jumping into Gatun Drop Zone. Jumping into the drop zone was typical for the special forces troops that were assigned there, and usually for any troops coming into the JOTC proper that were airborne qualified. That was their way of infiltrating into Fort Sherman. We jumped one day and we kind of noticed that, it's always, the drop zone has always been cleared. We never really took much interest in it, but we dropped in one day and we looked and it was completely denuded of any kind of vegetation. And the drop zone is probably anywhere from, 800 meters wide, 1,000 meters wide to 2,000 meters long. So you can stand on one end of the drop zone and look toward the other end of the drop zone and still see people, which is really kind of unheard of in the jungle. Any kind of vegetation hole like that is usually sucked up pretty quick by, the rapid growing vines and vegetation. So it was kind of an odd thing for us to experience. After I got released from the Army, I went back to my hometown in Connecticut and stayed there until, till the late 2018, maybe, no, 2014. I've tried several times to approach the VA, putting in applications and trying to get some help with several different problems that I had. Everything from broken bones to tinnitus to, and of course, the breathing. I tried several times to put in applications for breathing, and I was always turned down. In fact, everything was ever listed was turned down, with the exception they gave me 10% for my hearing, which is kind of funny because now I'm profoundly deaf. I can't hear anything without hearing aids. So I kind of got really frustrated with the VA, and I went through several different veteran service officers, and I think they did a good job, but they just weren't being effective with the VA. In 2014, I went and took a physical, and in the course of the physical, it seemed like they didn't really want to do any kind of lung x-rays or chest x-rays or anything like that. And I kind of insisted. And it turns out that I had a golf ball size tumor in my right lung. They did a biopsy and it came back with adenocarcinoma, which I guess was supposed to be a pretty fast acting cancer. So I asked if, the doctors and the oncologists and stuff, what my options were. And they said, either you can try, radiation, chemotherapy, or probably the best bet would be to get a surgical solution. So I opted for the surgical solution. They took out most of my lung, the lower lobe, half of the middle lobe, almost to the upper lobe. So I had a third, maybe less than that, of a right lung. And then I started having breathing problems after this was done. It went for a couple of years, and then I developed COPD in my left lung, and I guess in my right lung too. So I went back to the VA, tried to get them to appreciate my position and to take a look and see if there was something that they might find that was beneficial to me. And it was denied again. I went through life, I guess, from 2014 up to, 2016, 17. and I developed prostate cancer. I was pretty sure, or they were pretty sure, it was stage 4. It kind of just crept right up on me. I didn't really realize I was having some problems with it, but yep, they're on hold. It turned out it wasn't stage 4, it was stage 3. And I opted for the chemotherapy and the radiation. So radiation was 40 days and chemotherapy was 2 years. And now I'm kind of, I guess I'm cleansed of that now too. Based on all these things in my life, these different setbacks and injuries and illnesses that I've had, today's life is that I am on oxygen 24/7 a day. I can move maybe 10 feet, 20 feet, maybe without gasping for air. My end stage COPD has turned into that end stage. And I don't know when the end date is. It's going to be, probably pretty soon. It really, really affects me and affects my life, and it affects my wife. She is constantly concerned about my health and where I am with treatments and everything else. So my VA interaction now is I've found a new VSO, and so I'm hoping hoping that he can really help. It seems like he's a real fighter, and I really appreciate that. I certainly look forward to any kind of resolution he can come up with. So I hope I kind of shed some light on my life and how I went through the service and got out, and how I looked for from help from the VA, and for the most part it wasn't forthcoming. And I know there's a lot of people out there that share the same thing that I'm going through, and they've gone through in Panama, where they've used tremendous amounts of Agent Orange. So I would implore you to reach out to some of the advocacy groups and to let's get this movement going and try to help find some resolution for some of the other troops that are probably worse off than I am. So I want to thank you very much and have a great day.